But, I'm trying to do all this too and not be psycho dad too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I'm psycho dad, and I don't think, and we know what those look like,
Yeah. It's
I'm just playing.
yeah. Hey, I got one.
Level up. Hey, level up. Yeah, cause I'm getting louder. Hey, level up.
Welcome to the Turf, powered by D1. Man, we are fired up to have in the house Luke Bryan, 5-time Entertainer of the Year.
He knows his stats.
Let's go. Big-time college football fan.
Crazy.
And a fantastic athlete himself. We're going to talk about that.
Now.
We're going to talk
Don't give me
about
too
that.
much of that.
Man, we are pumped to have you here on the Turf, talking all things training, coaching, and the impact you're making on all these athletes out there, not just entertainers.
Yeah, well, sports it's a big thing in our household. It always has been. It was a big thing for me growing up. And when I look at obviously what D1 does for athletes, and getting to know you through the years and watching this company grow, and watching my children kind of forge their path in athletics, and being like I said, big Georgia Bulldog fan, and big we're really baseball, golf, football, and basketball. It's been fun to, and the fact that I had boys, when you're starting your family, you never know that. You never know if you're going to have a house. Which, if you have a house full of girls, that's amazing too, because they would have. My wife's a just crazy tennis player, and big. She's way more athletic than me. I don't go jogging with her anymore. She outpaces me. But yeah, to wake up here in Tennessee, and it's football season. It's a lot of energy in the sports world right now, and happy to be here.
Man, we're fired up. You must like the colors. Little red and black.
Yeah, I figured. It's very, very thematic. Looks like a Georgia football training facility in here. We'll go with that.
People always ask me, why do you make it orange and white? And I was like,
he knows where the power colors are.
The power colors. Hey, so I want to start. If you can rewind and think back to your days of playing football and baseball.
Right.
You think about Luke as a high school student.
Well, yeah. So, I grew up in South Georgia, and man, my memories of Pee Wee football were you take your pads and you stick your face mask up between your shoulder pads.
Yeah.
And you tote them to school.
Right.
And you got all your gear stuffed in your helmet. And you sit it on the.
You don't wash the pants.
Yeah, they smelled like hell. And you sit them on the shelf. And, you do class, and then we go get on a school bus, and then we get dropped off at our Pee Wee, after school. And man, and then it was growing up in Leesburg, Georgia, we, at the time, we really had a terrible football program, and it wasn't anybody's fault. It was just, we were down there competing with, that region of South Georgia is just really, really competitive with all sports, but our baseball program was always a perennial state runner-up, and Buster Posey played at my high school. Buster's 10 years younger than me, so he's probably our biggest athlete to ever come out of Lee County. But I was doing baseball and football. I did some basketball stuff, but like I said, basketball was. It was incredible down there. We had a team down there named Westover. Well, we were in the region with Dougherty County, Albany High, and Westover.
Oh, yeah.
So for my 4 years of high school, the Final Four, I'm missing a school, Dougherty, Monroe, Westover, and Albany High. For my 4 years, they were the Final Four in the Georgia State Championship.
Holy smokes.
So they were in our region for basketball.
You're competing.
So we went and watched basketball, because it was like going and watching just alley-oops and dunks, and Westover won them all. But it was a big place to grow up, and so all through football and baseball down in Georgia, I was a pretty dang good little athlete, But then first of all, I had a couple things going against me. I was the youngest kid in my grade. I was July 17th.
Oh, you weren't reclassed.
I did not reclass. I think my parents were like, we got to get him out of the house. And like, so yeah, I mean, I was the youngest kid in my grade, and I was the youngest kid to like grow. I didn't grow till I was in 11th grade.
Yeah.
So when I played, I was kind of like making all-star teams my whole career. Then 8th grade year, I didn't make baseball all-stars, and I was devastated. But I made the 9th and 10th grade baseball team. But we are, like I said at the time, we were one of the best baseball programs in the state.
Yeah.
And then my dad kind of intervened, and he was like, "You're out on football. I'm not. You're just out."
What position did you play?
Well, in football, I was always, like a little slot back,
Yeah.
tight end kind of guy. And then when I was real little, I was like a little D lineman. And man, I had these little tactics that I'd jump the ball. And we had this big thing called the Turkey Bowl one time. And we went and won the Turkey Bowl. And I had like 6 sacks because I was timing the snap.
Yeah.
And I would jump through, man. I'd grab the quarterback. I'd grab his ankle.
Grab his ankle.
Dude, and it was, I mean, it was a fun time in my life, and we won the Turkey Bowl. But I kind of, so going in 9th grade, I kind of ducked out on football, but I was still trying baseball. But then I was playing a lot of basketball, and I was pretty dang good. I probably was a better basketball player than everything. But man, I just knew I wasn't going to make the basketball team. So 10th grade year, I played baseball. I had a pitching coach. I was working as a pitcher. But in 10th grade, I was 5'6", 130.
Yeah.
And I was going through terrible growing pains. Like I couldn't run. I'm ashamed, but I ran a 6 flat 40.
Oh.
That's how, I was like a baby giraffe.
But then you grew.
Then
Tell me about that story, because I read you were like 5'7", and then you went to like 6.
Yeah, my learner's permit on my 15-year-old driver's license, I was 5'6", 140. And then the summer of going into 11th grade year, I started growing. And when I graduated high school, I was 6'2", 175, 180. But by then, I had been like, man, when I was watching baseball players, and we were really churning out great baseball players.
Yeah.
And they're hitting 13, 14 home runs.
Yeah.
And I'm like barely clearing the infield.
Right.
And then they're going to like junior colleges, and they're going to like, a couple guys went to Georgia, FSU. And my coach, I went down and sat with him. And I'm like, and he like I said, he is a great baseball coach. And I said, Coach Williams, man, I think I'm out. I was like, he's like, really? And I didn't think that would be his reaction.
Yeah.
Because I didn't understand he was waiting on me to develop,
right,
to be a pitcher in the. I mean, I probably senior year, I probably could have really been a pitcher in the mix.
Yeah.
But I just said, man, I started my little band. I had a little band, playing little, backyard parties, and I realized that playing a guitar was probably going to be my path. And so from 11th grade year to 12th grade year, I really dove into music and but still, really have morphed into obviously a big sports fan. And I do think if my parents would have probably held me back, mm-hmm, I probably would have worked on sports a little. And I would say, as I got to college and would play intramural sports on like my fraternities, and we were doing big travel flag football stuff and playing, and I was making all the intramural teams. So I really was a better athlete, because I was bigger, stronger, but I was never really good at working out either. I was
gonna ask, like, were you a workout guy?
I was not a workout guy at all.
Were you the guy who skipped the weight room?
Man, I just didn't do. if in all the my senior year, I doubled up on PEs, and I just played basketballs.
Oh, you played hoops.
Two hoops for two classes. But I didn't really ever. I would say I only really got into like I wasn't a guy that at college went to the gym.
Yeah.
I would go shoot basketball at the rec center at college, but I just my first 2 years of college, I was at home at community college, and I was working for my dad. So I'd leave college,
Yeah.
and go work 8 hours at my dad's peanut mill, which that was all the workout I needed.
Yeah.
And then when I went off to Georgia Southern, kind of lived the college life. But I wasn't, a lot of my buddies would be like, come work out with me, Luke. And I'm like,
yeah, you'd rather play games.
I'd rather go shoot basketball and go to the bar and play guitar and play music. But only till I got to Nashville was when I got to Nashville when I was 25, and I was I'd been working on the farm. I was like 235, but I was like farm strong. Like, I mean, my day working for my dad was all I did was deliver seed bags and buckets of flowable sulfur. And dude, I think even, I was like, I can't be a country singer being 235. So I really started like, even I had a little apartment at, down in Franklin, and I started running about 7 miles a day.
Oh man!
Started going to. Do you remember the club?
Yeah, the club.
I started working
that was
out
back when I first started.
Yeah, I'd work out, and and I would go. I went from 235 to like 200.
Yeah,
and that's kind of where I hovered for 10 years, and then I slipped a little bit, but yeah, I really got to where I was running. I was running 7 miles a day, and just kind of got in a fun little. This was back when like all the guys and girls we were doing like what was classes like
classes.
What was the classes that we do
like Zumba?
Yeah, it was before all that, and me and my friend group, we'd go hit those 3 times a week. And then, so yeah, but I didn't have a choice. I mean, I was really focused on music, and I was like, man,
what was the switch, right? Because I think there's so many high school athletes that, come in here, and at some point there's like hey, this is what I'm really passionate about. I'd love to if there was like that moment in time. You talked about your, baseball, football player, and all of a sudden, like, you picked up a guitar, you're playing in a band, and you're like, was there like a moment that it just flipped on you? Like, this is what I love to do.
Well, when I got to Nashville, that was the first time I'd ever just kind of been like, I'm home. I'm with all of the other crazy people that chase the dream.
Yeah.
And so when when you're going into downtown Nashville, and you're singing songs, and you're going to writers' rounds, and you're writing every day. So once I got to Nashville, which was September 2001, I moved to 2001. September 1st is when I moved here, and so God, I guess I had my anniversary here not long ago. But the main thing was, when I went to Nashville, I knew that this was what I was supposed to do, and I knew that I knew I had to look like a star, and I knew by doing that you got to go work out. And I tell you what, one of the big things that, and then once I got my record deal, I opened for Tim McGraw one year.
Yeah.
And I think at the time, I was probably in pretty good shape, but then you go open with Tim McGraw and you see how
that dude's a workout man.
I mean, and I was like, man, that guy takes it to another level. So even after being there, and when you see other guys like Kenny Chesney and those guys that really, they work on their music, but they work on their appearance on stage. It's kind of like, that's a controllable.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Right.
Like when I sit down with my boys and we talk about what you can control, you can control your work ethic and your diet and your and you can control that. Now, you could control if you get an injury, not necessarily, but so I knew that
Right.
I couldn't really control whether I was going to go be a superstar. I knew I could work hard, but I knew I could go do the workouts, be in shape, and be ready to look the part as whatever a celebrity should look like. But so yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of things that that point down the path of, hey, when you're on stage and you see videos of yourself, you don't like how you look, it ain't fun.
Right.
So,
I mean, that's hard, right?
it's hard, and so it always kind of keeps you reined in on how you look after yourself, and then the physicalness of concerts and at the time early in my career, I mean, my wife and we tallied it up. I think I did 310 shows one year.
Oh,
Well, the physicalness of that, like,
that's a lot.
it was a lot, and it was, a lot of times an hour and a half a night. So being in shape and I would say I got in way better shape in my early 30s than I ever was, and way in better shape than kind of when I was in my earlier 20s. So,
Yeah.
but hey, you always it's always something you're working at.
I mean, it's a constant
Oh, I know.
evolution, right? Like you're kind of going in and out. I think everybody faces it, but I think the thing that, like, when I think of you, I start thinking about, like, to me, you have that personality that comes out in a superstar. That's why I want to drop in. Was there like anything that happened on the sports field that happened to you? I don't know these stories. Like, what moment were you like, man, maybe the coach, like, you had kind of a superstar moment, whether it's on the baseball field or football?
I don't know. I think I did. Now, I will say we were over. We had this team. It's not a great baseball team, and I did throw a no-hitter in the 9th grade. And the coolest part about it is our field that we played was just like in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, one of my dad's buddies was on his front porch, just watching that particular game. And he was bragging he goes, I think I watched a kid throw a no-hitter the other day. And he was telling it got around, it was actually me. But that was probably my glory moment of baseball. And I think maybe when I was 8 years old and my sacks in the Turkey Bowl, those are pretty much the highlights. But back then, man, we had some fun coaches. We had an old coach named Bud Gibson.
Oh, Bud.
And Bud was just a mean football coach. And and totally tactics that can't work today. Rip your helmet off. I mean, we're out there, South Georgia. We're drinking out of the water spigot.
Yeah.
He didn't care.
A little different day.
Yeah, it was a little different day. I mean, we got kids that. So yeah, we had great. Those coaches. You always remember them. I mean, I had a guy that his name was Dennis Taylor, and Dennis had actually played some semi-pro ball, and he was a pitcher, and he would go work with me in the backyard pitching. Dennis, and he was my youth pastor, so he was kind of responsible for getting me baptized and helping me with my pitching when I was thinking I might be a pitcher. But so yeah, there's been a lot of guys through the years, and I know it's unrelated to sports, but my drama coach. When I switched out of sports, I started doing one-act plays, and my drama coach treated drama like it was a sport. I mean, he yelled at you like you got real butt chewings. There was no when we weren't. I mean, so it was that was a lot of that, but. So yeah, I mean, I had another coach, Frank Watson. I mean, all these guys have since passed away, and they were really, really important people. In I had a one coach, man, I'd have good games, and he'd be like, Luke, you have a good game. We're going to grab we're going to go get hamburgers tonight. I mean, you go. And one time I actually coached when I was in college, my first year at college and working for my dad. Me and a buddy of mine named Joe Rentz, we coached some Pee Wee football one year.
How were you as a coach?
We were great, man. We didn't.
How were you, though?
And honestly, here's honest. I'll tell you the truth. The rec league called Joe because on the day of the draft, on the day that you pick their kids, there were more kids than were coaches.
Oh.
So the rec department called us and said, these kids got drafted by the staff while the other coaches were cherry picking. And they said, Joe called me and he goes, hey man, you want to help me? We really got the deck stacked against us. And we kind of did it because we felt sorry that it was going that way. So Joe was really the primary coach, but I was helping Joe. And we got out there and we actually won. We were not predicted to win any games. We won a couple games. And so the kids didn't go, they didn't throw a goose egg up there.
Yeah.
But I called Bud Gibson and he goes, yeah, I heard y'all did that. He was really proud that Joe and I went and stepped in and helped coach these kids. And I said, Bud, what's the tactic I can motivate them? He goes, run by the gas station and get you a paper sack, and fill it up with bubble gum.
Oh.
And I said, what? And he goes, when you get there, tell all the kids that they practice hard, they get a piece of bubble gum. And we got there and I'm like, and Joe's like, what are you doing? My other coach. I said, boys, y'all practice hard today, you get some bubble gum. Dude, them kids were killing each other that day over one piece of bubble gum. So that's why you call the old coaches for the little tricks.
Yeah, the little tricks, a little wisdom. All right,
now it's Lamborghinis. Well,
I kind of want to shift there because you got boys, right? You got boys playing ball. You got a high school quarterback. You got one that played baseball. I'd love to maybe dive into that. But how do you coach them?
Well,
do you do it with bubble gum?
The bubble gum don't work anymore. So Teal, my nephew, who came to live with us when he was 13, and he grew up in Leesburg.
Yeah.
So when he lost his parents, he came to us in that system. So we plugged him in, and we got gifted a 13-year-old, and then he was at BA. And then first game of the football season, we went up to Kentucky to play a school, and their starting quarterback, BA's, went down, and Till was in. And look, I got chill bumps talking about it. I mean, I'm sitting there, and me and my wife are like, we didn't sign up to snap, oh my God, we got a quarterback on the field. And so Till quarterbacked a couple of games and did great. And then he went into baseball and played baseball. And so we had a 13-year-old in the mix right off the bat at BA, which is a highly competitive school. He later transferred to Page, and he was a receiver and a great pitcher for Page. And then so we got Bo and Tate. Bo is a junior, a 17-year-old junior. And we got Tate, and Tate's 15. And so the cool thing about, my growth with them as a father that's on the road so many days a year, man, I've always, and I was always gonna make sure that my boys were ready to be on the field.
Yeah.
I was never gonna walk them into a scenario where they're trying out for a team, where I just felt that, and I did the best I could to put them in the best scenario. It was one of the coolest conversations I'd ever had. Me and Adam LaRoche and Chipper Jones are real good friends. And I was at Chipper's ranch, and let's just say Bo was 4 years old. And I have Adam and Chipper, and I said, guys, what would y'all, we're coming up on baseball season. What would you want me to do with my 4-year-old? And they said, man, make him swing out of his shoes at the baseball. And I said, really? They said, just so, man, I get home, I go to, academy, I buy 3 buckets of balls, and man, and I'd say 30 times that year, I pitched them 3 buckets to Bo, and the only goal was to destroy the ball.
Swing
And
out of your
man, when I got him into fifth and 5 and 6-year-old, I mean, dude, he was hitting dingers, and he didn't, and so, and then Tate's the younger brother, and Bo and Tate are completely different athletes, like from top to bottom. Like Bo had to work at some fielding stuff, and Bo, Tate, when he was 2, I just threw him a ball and he went and caught it, and I'm like, well, that's interesting. I don't have to work with him on that, and Bo, but so it's fun to have kids that are completely different dynamics, and through the years, I mean, Bo has really, I mean, the level of his work ethic and concentration and his approach to sports is totally different than me.
Yeah.
I mean, when he wakes up in the morning, if it's football season, he's got his stuff dialed in. I mean, he's got his footballs. They look like they just came out of a showroom. They've
been scrubbed.
Oh, he's got all the mud, all of the stuff.
He's not throwing the helmet inside the pads.
No, he's got his bags dialed in. And so when I look at his path in football, he's had a challenging path in football because early on in his younger years, BGA was they'd have really bad games and they'd have good games. So he missed a lot of development maybe in the early years, and that's nobody's fault. I mean, BGA, like Bo was quarterbacking. Well, now, I mean, their program is really, so Bo's had to work hard to really catch up in the football world. And so he's pitching great. He's since, I mean, I wish I could work with him and get him really, there's another thing, and I think it's important for dads. Here's the only negative about me being gone so much that I've learned is we've got a batting cage at the house. Well, they'll go develop bad habits in the batting cage because I'm not there watching their habits. So, Bo, I come off the road and, he's 10th grader. And then, next thing you know, and I'm like, what is that? And then at the game, I'm like, well, I was hitting good in the cage, when I was doing all this. And I'm like, oh, that ain't the way we, I'm like, go watch Mike Trout's YouTube videos. And so, but now I think he might be pitcher only. I still want him to work on hitting because he's got a lot of power and he's a big kid. But then Tate is Tate is a smaller athlete. We're waiting on Tate to grow. He's got his dad's late.
Yeah, 5'7" to 6'2".
And Tate, me and Tate were in the bedroom last night, and I said, "Do a squat." And he's like, "Dad, I physically cannot. I can't squat." I mean, he's like, and me and my wife are like, Tate's growing. So we got in there, and he went down to do a squat and just tipped over his knees. But he played football up until he played football all through middle school. I looked out there and I was like, I'm not running you out there at 9th grade. And so he played baseball 7th and 8th, and he pitched great. I mean, he's a great pitcher, but he's leaned into golf.
He's a really good golfer.
Naturally,
I played with him. He's a really good golfer.
When we sit down and listen, we all have to manage our kids' expectations as parents.
Yeah.
And no matter who I'm around, no matter what coach, I mean, I always want coaches to be honest with me about, listen, the music business is cruel. And it takes, in the music business, to succeed, you got to have peers that are honest with you. And when I'm on American Idol, I got to be honest with these kids.
Right.
Because, you know, giving them false premises and hope doesn't get them anywhere down the line. So, you know, any of the coaches that I've talked with, I'm like, shoot me straight. I mean, is it worth it chasing Bo being a quarterback, Bo being a pitcher? And when the coach goes, heck yes, chase it, then I'm like, okay, great, let's. And so with Tate, like chasing golf seems like the right thing. And if he comes up to me and he's like, Dad, I'm burnt out of golf. I want to hit the gym. I want to start working on my curveball again. Man, I'll be the guy. We'll go work on the curveball. So, but right now he's a ninth grader. He made the BGA golf team.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
you know, we're working every day on that. When I'm done with this, I'm meeting him at the course. His putting and chipping is not what we want it to be, so we're gonna work on that. But you know, I'm trying to do all this too and not be psycho dad too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I'm psycho dad, and I don't think, and we know what those look like.
Yeah.
You know,
It's.
I'm just playing.
Yeah. Hey, I got one. No, I mean, like, look, I think it's a real interesting balance. Balancing driving your kid and giving them opportunities and giving them tools to succeed, but then also the balance is like making sure they want it, because sometimes that to do it to appease you.
I have none of those emotions in my life. It is about their wants, their wishes, and their goals and their happiness.
Yeah.
It's not about, I mean, I'm not, it's about like, man, do you want to get up and go chip and putt for 3 hours? And if they don't one day, then I'm like, well, let's go fish. Let's go have a day off. And then I go show them Michael Phelps workout. No, I told Bo or Tate, I'm like, you realize Michael Phelps went 6 days and 20 years without swimming, but you know, that's a little, but yeah, I mean, you're the same. I mean, the burnout, you know, and I know you see it, you know, burning them out. And listen, I've been really lucky to have met great athletes such as Adam Wainwright and Chipper and a bunch of the Braves guys. And man, they all worry about athletes burning out, especially in baseball. I mean, I think baseball, you have to be,
It's a grind.
you know, in Carolina, and I listen, I mean, man, we did all the travel balls with both boys. We travel balled it, and we sat out there in the hot sun, and I don't think we ever burn them out. I mean, I think, but you know, it's a lot, and you know, and there is a fine balance of watching your kids' demeanor on, and you know, letting them be you know, I mean, dude, my wife, listen, I mean, there were 4th of Julys. She's in North Georgia watching Till play travel ball on 4th of July.
Yeah.
And me and her are like, and I don't play shows on 4th of July because, you know, I'm like, we had a day off, and like you know, our spring break last year, I mean, we used to, listen, I mean, we sold 2 houses because of sports, because sports are making us not be able to get to the houses.
Yeah.
And that's just what you do for your kids. And, you know, Bo, during spring break, he's doing travel baseball stuff. And we're like,
well, I gotta commend you, because these people don't know, but like, I've watched this guy be a real a dad, which is give your kids opportunities, and then fan the flame on those, but then just have a relationship with them.
right.
Like, you're out there playing golf with them, you're tossing ball, watching Tate kick soccer balls.
Yeah, he played soccer a couple years, and I was like, is this your thing? So
I think that's the most important thing, right? Is to have a relationship with your kids and to fan that.
well, and I think another important thing, you know, is when you is kids, like when I drive through our neighborhood, you got to go through a neighborhood to get to our farm.
Yeah.
When Tate comes home from school and I go back and look in the neighborhood and there's 10 kids playing pickup football or basketball, and I hear that is an important phase in a kid's life too. I didn't grow up in a neighborhood. Like I grew up in Leesburg, but man, I used to try to get to neighborhoods to kind of play with all the boys and get out there and tussle and
Yeah.
and fight each other on backyard football. So when I watch the boys, having pickup game, we got a great little basketball court at the house. We got a tennis court. Bo and them will they'll go out there and do pickleball on. So as long as the boys are gathering and playing sports and having fun, I think sports are. I'm a huge outdoorsman, and I think when you look at mental health and where children are trending in the world of mental health, I think nothing really combats mental health stuff better than sports and the outdoors, because the successes and the failures,
That's what shapes us.
it's what shapes us. I mean, me and Tate, we hiked 30 miles last year elk hunting, and he didn't get an elk. And, it was hiking 10 miles a day. And when he went on the way home, he's like, it didn't happen. And that's what life is too. And so I think when you look at what sports and being outside, I just think it's imperative for parents to do their best. And, I always, and I look at Bo's, I look at the dynamic of his friend, of all of their, Bo is like the mayor.
Yeah.
So Bo walks into school and high five, and I watch his friend group, and man, these are boys that they're going to be his boys forever because they're in the trenches in football. And then, man, it's been the coolest thing with Tate, because Tate's a little more quiet, but man, watching the seniors embrace Tate on the golf team.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, and Tate, all the boys were walking down the fairway the other day, and I took a picture, and one of the seniors who's committed to BGA's got 3 or 4 D1 golf commits right now. And the fact that those boys are nurturing Tate is so cool to me. And they don't, and Tate's, he's a 9th grader scared to death that he made the golf team, but they're nurturing him.
Yeah.
And, dad can yell at him and work on the putting, but when he has a upperclassman going, hey, did you work on your putts this week?
Yeah.
Your peers will hold you accountable, so it's a fun dynamic watching it.
That's awesome. What, as we kind of like wrap up here, I start thinking about the next, the next thing for you. So
goodness.
then you start like thinking about you've obviously gotten in great shape recently.
Well.
Let's go. And you're doing American Idol, you're playing all your shows, you're raising these amazing kids. Like when you start thinking about what's next for Luke Bryan?
With me, I tell you a big thing, and I never brought this up, but man, I got into cycling too. I got to where there was a guy that I don't know if you ever met Sam Bell that owned Blackberry Farm.
Yeah.
And well, when Sam passed away, he was a huge cyclist. And we were going to Blackberry. Well, I got in kind of the cycling club.
Yeah.
You know what? I tell you, my best achievement in sports was I worked Robbie Ventura and a guy named John Kazimis. I don't know if you know John. Robbie was a professional cyclist. Him and Sam Bell were really good buddies. John played football at Alabama.
Yeah.
Well, they got me into cycling, and then we set a goal that I would do a 100-mile bike ride. And man, I'd never really, so I started cycling, and man, we went and we got 6 of us, and we did a 100-mile bike ride in Tennessee. And man, it was the first time that I had to use my mind to get me through. It was physically the last 30 miles was all mind, because everything on me was hurting. And I had prepared for it.
Yeah.
And so that was probably one. When I got done with that, and then we did a couple more 100-mile rides I'm not in shape for them now. So Robbie, I'm fixing to get back on the bike. I got to where my knees were jacking with me, so I took a little break. But cycling has been a real important thing. But so I think when I think like lately I've just been trying to hit 100 push-ups, hit 100 squats, hit 100 burpees, do this,
So we're not going to be seeing you run across America.
Well, I
Or
don't
bike
think,
across America.
well, I think cycling is when I'm 49, and I think cycling's a little friendlier on the joints. And I get I got a lot of country buddies, and when they see me in the gear, you gotta, when Bo and Tate are when they're having their breakfast and Dad comes through the house in his cycling getup, I always get a couple funny looks. But I think if they see me working hard, trying to stay in shape, and listen, we haven't talked about my wife enough. I mean, my wife, she is a workout. I mean, she's tennis, and it's been so she holds the boys. Like I said, I mean, she holds them accountable too. I mean, we could have done a whole podcast on her.
Yeah.
I mean, she is on there. I mean, she runs the structure. See, I come in off the road and I'm like, fun dad, that I'm like, and she's like, you got to get out of here because I got them, she's got it, she's got them dialed in. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun dynamic. And man, Ray, I tell you what, and this is, I was around a guy named Mike Melman, and Mike Melman's super successful, owns Discovery Land Company, and Mike's a really successful guy. And he looked at me because I took Friday nights off for Bo, and I know I'm going to take Friday nights off. And he looked at me, and he goes, Luke, out of all of my successes in life, the thing that brings me the most joy was Friday Night Lights, watching my boys. And I said, really? And he goes, man, I don't care. He goes, don't you miss any of those Friday Night Lights. Yeah. And so that's a pretty big statement coming from Mike. And I think, when you get to watch your kids, and Bo's in waiting right now. He's got the kids.
He's coming. His time's coming.
His time's coming, and Bo's ready for that. But the kid in front of Bo is just a great world-class kid too. And so we're fun cheering on golf and football. And Tate may wake up and want to go play some baseball this spring. You never know. We'll see what happens.
You've done a lot of stuff with several of the guys that have trained here and been a partner of the business, like Peyton.
Right.
Tebow.
Yeah.
You got any good stories? I know at one point you had the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, my wife at an event, she auctioned and won the auction for Tebow's Heisman, which at the time when she paid the amount she paid, I was, first of all, if it had been Herschel Walker's Heisman, I could have had no, I'm cutting up with Tebow, but she did auction, and I thought it was a really great gesture that Tebow has supported our charity, the Brett Boyer Foundation, and Tebow came out. And the fact that he doesn't want to Tebow's like, I don't want my Heisman in my house. I want people to auction it. And man, so it was funny. It was in the house for a year.
Where'd you put it? Right in the
Well, I put it in my songwriting room. And in my songwriting room, I've got my guitars and piano. So people, when we'd had new guests at the house, they would want to go see some of my awards. And they're like, is that a Heisman? And I'm like, yeah, my wife had too much wine and auctioned and got and bid for Tebow's Heisman. But what was cool about it is I brought a lot of Bo's and Tate's buddies to the house to get pictures with it.
Yeah.
Tebow and I have become, he's just an amazing human. And Peyton and I have become really, really great golf buddies through the years. And the fact that I think Peyton's Marshall's going to be over at Baylor now.
Back in the state.
Well, that's going to put Peyton here a lot more. And I've reached out to Peyton, if y'all are, Marshall's playing any schools over here, y'all crash at the house. And I think, that was an incredible move by Peyton to, put Marshall in that situation. But
Yeah.
but yeah, when I think about getting to pick up the phone call and talk to Peyton about, you know, uh, where do you see, I remember even calling Peyton 8 years ago, going, because I think at one point Peyton was really wondering about tackle football. When do when is it flag? When do they transition into tackle?
Yeah.
And then me and Peyton worked all that out. And so the fact that I can pick pick the phone up and call and get info from guys of that caliber is, like I said, it's a blessing that music put me in the room with those guys, and so it's been fun through the years. Like, I tell you, I had Teal. We were on a fishing trip, and Adam Wainwright had had an Achilles injury, so he was out for the year. Well, Wayno calls me, he goes, "Hey, can I come on that fishing trip with you?" So we go up there, and then he goes, "Hey, do you mind if Chris Carpenter swings by?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So next thing you know, I got Chris Carpenter and Adam Wainwright in the backyard showing Teal pitching advice. I'm like,
That's awesome.
I'm like, "Buddy, do you realize what you're getting?"
That's awesome.
Pretty crazy life we live.
That's awesome.
And thanks for all you do in this space. It's incredible that through the years you'll be able to look back in your body of work. You can tangibly say, I helped that kid start here and chase his dreams and grow to, go change the world as an athlete.
Change the world as an athlete. Yeah, one of the things we're trying to do here is impact people, not just bigger, faster, stronger, but also their character.
Right.
And so one of the things that when these athletes come in here, we want them to leave with is not, you are gonna jump higher, and run faster.
Those are the tangibles, yeah.
Yeah, but the halo benefit is learning those character, like learning discipline, learning perseverance, and respect. And so to me, that's what this place is all about. The gym to me has always been sacred. It's where, a little bit like probably hunting is for you. When you're out in that wilderness, you feel connected. And that's what I feel like this training is for these athletes, because it's not, they're not having to be in front of a bunch of fans. This is a place where you can fail and try. And so that's why being on the turf means so much.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. And it's, and I just want to uplift coaches out there too. Coaches, I've watched coaches through the years, and what they've done is, it's truly a sacrifice, and it's awesome to watch. So
Yeah.
To all the coaches out there, thank y'all for making us better.
Thanks so much, Luke. Really appreciate you being here. Man, thanks for being on the turf, powered by D1.
All right, I'm running. Here we go. Oh! Oh!